Good evening. Thank you for joining me. This is Andrew Scott. I'm here to refute some claims made in a New York Times article titled "The Armed Struggle in Chicago." America's cities are becoming battlegrounds for more than just politics and votes. Young people are shedding blood in the streets every day, falling victim to gun violence. Families torn apart from this violence, although unfortunate, has become a norm in today's society, and the problem continues to grow. This is especially true in Chicago, where gun violence has become so out of control that it's been dubbed Chirac. This is why it has been on the forefront for Chicago to establish suitable gun laws to protect its citizens. However, the federal government acknowledges that these attempted proposals made by Chicago to restrict gun ownership rights and sales do not comply with federal rights and laws that are relevant to our constitutional right to bear arms. The New York Times editorial, "The Armed Struggle in Chicago," makes claims that despite federal laws and loopholes constraining stiffer gun laws in Chicago, they will continue to create compliant gun laws to protect its citizens. Throughout the New York Times discourse, it becomes clear that blame is falling on the members of Congress to change laws on the federal level, despite facts stating that 60% of guns are turning up from underground sources. One claim made in this discourse is especially damaging when the editors of the New York Times make a claim that Congress has barely reacted to a recent mass shooting spree in California, where a disturbed young man legally armed with high-power weapons and knives killed 6 people, including himself. This claim is bold and speculative, and I will recall evidence to substantiate that Congress has made efforts, in fact positive efforts, with regard to this tragedy. Soon after the Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut in 2012, many legislative efforts were made, but bills were not able to pass the Senate. Following this latest shooting spree in California, Dana Davidson of CNN News recalls the California Senator Richard Blumenthal stating, "I am going to bring back those bills, maybe configure them to center on mental health," which is a point where we can agree that we need more resources to make this country healthier and to make sure these kinds of horrific, insane, mad occurrences are stopped, and that Congress will be complicit if we fail to act. Now, steering slightly off course, it's important to note that Congress, although wanting to facilitate a means of change on the country's stance on gun laws, it's simply being persuaded by lobbyists. But is it really persuasion when you're asked to abide by our Constitution, which outlines our rights to bear arms? In an article by Ches Pazienza of the Daily Banter, discusses a letter published by Tea Party action figure Joe the Plumber, aka Samuel Wurzenbacher. Samuel states, "Your dead kids don't trump my constitutional rights. We still have the right to bear arms, and I intend to continue to speak out for that right and against those who would restrict it, even in the face of this horrible incident by this sad and insane individual." Lastly, the Sydney Morning Herald recalls additional comments also made by Senator Blumenthal. Senator Blumenthal states, "Obviously not every kind of gun violence is going to be prevented by laws out of Washington, but at least we could make a start, and I'm going to urge that we bring back those bills." Clearly we are dealing with a sensitive subject when it comes to what America has dubbed sensible gun laws. However, the fact always remains that under our Constitution, we have a right to bear arms and protect ourselves. It's simply not fair that those rights be restricted when violent offenders will find alternative illegal sources to secure weapons. Thank you.